Hi friends, on Thursday we looked at some of the newest Hermes bag styles that they are launching for spring-summer 2023 that actually walked the runway in Paris. And then today I wanted to share with you my thoughts on some of the new takes on our beloved Birkin and Kelly bags that are supposedly launching for spring-summer 2023, which let's be honest, these bags won't be on shelves for at least a couple of years, but we can still chat about them. So you can kind of start planning your upcoming wish list. So without further ado, if you'd like to see the latest and greatest Birkin and Kelly bags from Hermes, then make sure to give this video a thumbs up, subscribe down below if you haven't done so yet, and keep on watching. First and foremost, we have to say a big thank you to Karen from Karen Brick Chick, who I'm sure you're familiar with, but if you're not, make sure to have Karen's handles linked down below for you, because that's one thing that Karen has impeccable taste, which she does, but all her posts and all her outfits just make me so happy. I just find her style to be so incredibly joyful. And it is thanks to Karen that we can talk about these pieces, because she actually attended the press event in Paris and she was kind enough to let me share with you some of her pictures and also my thoughts on these. So without further ado, let's jump straight in, and we have a pair of new boots, well, a new take on Hermes' iconic jumping boots, which in my opinion are some of the best pieces that Hermes does. These are a classic design that if you're looking for a pair of boots, a taller pair of boots, you have to try on. I have several friends who own and love these. I personally have never tried them just because I don't think that a tall pair of boots would suit me, but if they would suit you, you definitely have to check them out. They do these every single season. The design is incredibly simplistic. Obviously, the inspiration is some of the equestrian boots that Hermes have been creating for probably centuries at this point. Now these, I don't think you would actually be able to wear to the stable because they have obviously been dumbed down a tiny bit, but the inspiration is still there. I personally appreciate the idea of them playing around with this classic design and encouraging their customers to wear boots in the spring summer. But for me, this design just isn't it. Obviously, they create these little holes to make the boots a little bit more breathable. So if you wanted to, you can wear them for spring summer. But personally, I just wouldn't waste the money on these. I get the design, I get the idea. I think they would look fun in a picture, but those little holes kind of creep me out, and I don't even have that phobia where I cannot look at tiny little holes on something. For me, there's just something weird about these. But if you love the riding boots, if you have them in all the classic colors and leathers and you're looking to add a new pair to your collection, this should be launching for spring summer. It's not my favorite, but it isn't the worst thing that we've seen. The shoes that they featured on the runway were much worse than these. And speaking of shoes, we are also getting the Chypre sandals in some new colorways, and this time they're actually coming in a two-tone version where the large H is going to be in a different color than the fastening, which previously it was all made of the exact same color and leather. And while you can pick these shoes up in different finishes and different colors, it used to be all one tone, whereas now for spring summer you're going to have some fun, sort of more pops of colors, which I have no doubt are going to be incredibly popular. You guys know my thoughts on the Chypre sandals. I bought them, I tried them, and realized that they were simply not for me. If you'd like to hear my in-depth review on these shoes, if you'd like to see me try these on, make sure to have my original unboxing linked up here for you. Personally, if you love them, you're going to be happy to see that they're launching these in some new colors. But for me, I can tell you that I could do without any more Chypre sandals on my Instagram feed. Another piece where I'm like, we've been here, we've done this, so I don't really understand why we are continuing to beat a dead horse. Well, in this case, it is a seahorse, because we're getting a new seahorse inspired back charm, which is obviously based on the idea of the rodeos, which is just a little bit too much. I feel like we've seen all the rodeos in all the colors, all the leathers and all the finishes, and we have exhausted them. So now obviously the natural next step for Hermes is to start coming out with different animals that all feature the exact same leathers and the techniques and craftsmanship that they used on the rodeos, which were actually inspired by their glove making. Did you know that rodeos, they use the same sort of expertise and same techniques that they previously only used for creating gloves? That's kind of the story behind rodeos. So now we're getting a seahorse as well, which to me is just a step too far. I got the idea of putting these little fun rodeos on some more classic bags because obviously they paid tribute to Hermes' equestrian heritage. I'm not sure what the storyline is going to be for these little horses, but I'm sure they're going to come up with something. I mean, we've seen Hermes use seahorses on some of their scarves, but I don't really know how deeply these are rooted in the brand's heritage. For me, it is just kind of silly, but of course, I'm open to hearing what you guys have to say in the comment section. And then we're seeing here the new Kelly clutch bag, which we also saw on the runway. We talked about those bags in Thursday's video, but on the runway, these actually were shown with a feather detail, but at the press event, they were also introduced without the feather trim, which I had no doubt that they were going to launch those pieces without the feathers too, which obviously is going to make a lot of you happy out there. Personally, it's still not my favorite. If you'd like to hear my in-depth thoughts on this particular piece, I'll make sure to link Thursday's video down below for you. But feathers or no feathers, it's just simply not a piece that I feel would fill a gap in my collection. I think that there are so many other more elevated and elaborate takes on the Kelly bag that this is one that we could have easily lived without. Let's move on to this next picture because we have a lot to unpack here. So let me start with, where do we even begin? Let's start with the bracelets. So we have two new click leg bracelets or click H bracelets, depending on when you started shopping at Hermes. Some people call these the click H, while other people, including myself, call these the click leg, which are, let's be honest, some of the most popular Hermes pieces. I have no doubt that these are the pieces that keep the lights on in most Hermes boutiques. Personally, they are not my favorite, but I know many people love them, especially if you love adding a pop of color to your outfits. These are a go-to for many people, which now you will be able to find without the H detail. Instead, these seem to feature the Kelly twist closure. Personally, to me, these are not much better than the original design, but if you love them, you'll be happy to hear that now you'll be able to add a new one to your collection that features the beloved twist closure. We also have a new piece of SLG, which personally I have never seen before, which is in a new metallic. To me, it seems that it's Chev, so it seems to be a new metallic Chev that you're going to be getting in a new SLG that features the Medor pyramid and some new studs, which is kind of a cool design. I like the fact that it has the Medor detail, but the wallet itself is still quite compact, so if you're a fan of mini bags, you don't have to worry about buying this particular SLG and not being able to use it because it is quite thin. And even though it has the Medor detail, I think it would be a lot easier to maneuver in and out of smaller bags than something like the Kelly Pocket, which has that kind of bulky twist closure on the front. And I'm not sure if you're going to be able to see it here in my screenshot, but I remember seeing this on Karen's story that we're also getting a Veru chain in this metallic leather, as well as a Mini Kelly, which this isn't the first time that Hermes launches a metallic Kelly or a metallic Birkin bag. I think it was back in 2005 when they launched a tiny little limited collection of metallic Birkin and Kelly bags, which featured, I want to say, two sizes of Birkins, Birkin 25s and Birkin 30s in bronze and silver. And I think they also did maybe a couple of different sizes of Kelly bags, which were insanely popular. I don't even know if they were as popular back then as they are now, because at this point they are some of the most highly coveted bags, and the inspiration for those was actually a window display piece which Hermes specially created for one of their holiday windows, which people, I assume, went crazy for, so they had to reinterpret it and make an actual sellable item out of it, which at this point you can only find at auctions. So it's not surprising that they would bring out a similar bag. Now this color isn't identical to the bronze color or the silver color that they had back in 2005. This to me seems a little bit more champagne-y and a little bit more cool toned. I'm not sure if this would be considered champagne gold, but it is definitely a lot more neutral than bronze or silver. It seems to be sitting almost in the middle, which I'm sure people are going to be going crazy for. I think this is one of those pieces that was truly created for collectors. I have no doubt that these are going to be almost impossible to get. But if you're a fan of mini bags, if you love these sort of show-stopping, jaw-dropping pieces, this is definitely something that you have to express your interest for as soon as you can. And speaking of hard to get pieces, we're getting a new take on the Birkin Picnic, which this whole picnic line was reintroduced a few years ago at this point. Obviously, they started by reintroducing the Kelly Picnic in a mini size in a few different colorways. Then a couple of seasons ago, we started getting Birkin 25s in this picnic version, and now we're getting another Birkin Picnic in a different colorway in white with white stripes, which these kind of remind me, these stripes, maybe of jumping rails. Perhaps that was the inspiration for this bag. I'm not exactly sure, but that's just my educated guess. Personally, as beautiful as this bag is, I'm not the biggest fan of Hermes milking these really beautiful original designs. I hate what they did to the shadow line. I hate what they did to the So Black line. I'm not the biggest fan of what they're doing with the picnic line. I think these lines were special because they were limited. They were only around for a really short period, but by bringing these original designs back, to me, they kind of lose their charm. What do you guys think? Do you think it's great that they bring back these once exclusive limited designs, or do you think that it kind of takes away from the original magic? I'm just thinking about all the collectors that back in the day put their money into these pieces, who, I mean, it's not like these pieces are now in mass production and they are super easy to come by, but still the fact that they continue reintroducing them and updating and upgrading them, I don't know, I wish they launched something that was a little bit more original than just a reinterpretation of an iconic design. What do you guys think? I can kind of see both sides of the argument, but personally, I just want to see something fresh and new. Whereas this particular piece, as beautiful as it is, it's just kind of a little bit lazy if you ask me. So I was just complaining that I find it kind of lazy that Hermes keeps reintroducing original beloved designs instead of launching something truly innovative. Well, here we have something new that we haven't really seen before. And again, I am complaining. So it seems like Hermes cannot do anything right by me this time. But we're getting a new Birkin bag, which features these interesting stitched details that kind of remind me of the bulldog print, which Hermes did on some scarves. They did a couple of scarf rings with that particular embellishment, and then they also used the exact same print on their last phone case, which I didn't love just because it was very much logo heavy. Obviously the bulldog print is inspired by Hermes' ribbons, so this I definitely prefer to the original bulldog print, but it's still not my favorite. It kind of, to me, you know, even more than the bulldog print, this kind of reminds me, not reminds me of, but to me it feels like you just ask a toddler to draw all over your Hermes bag, and this was the result of it. It's just simply not the most refined design in my personal opinion, even though I'm sure that it takes a long time and a lot of labor to create these stitch details. And trust me, I know it's going to be part of the spiel whenever this bag launches, but it's just still not the most elevated design in my opinion. Maybe if this was in all one color and the stitch details were just made of different leathers, perhaps if the body of the bag was black and then all these details were made of different exotic skins or different leathers but in the exact same color, I would be more on board. But this collection is just really not speaking to me for some reason. Maybe because it is a spring summer collection, so it's obviously going to be a little bit more colorful. I'm not sure why, but I haven't really seen any pieces that I would really go crazy for. But these are all the pictures that we had. I am incredibly grateful to Karen for letting me share her pictures, so thank you, Karen. And please make sure that you check either Karen's Instagram or YouTube channel out. She is incredible. And then there were a couple of other pieces that I don't have pictures of, but I remember seeing them floating around out there. So we're getting a new Della Cavalleria bag in a new elongated version, which, I'm sorry to say this, I'm going to be a Debbie Downer today, but again, I don't love. For me, I just hate when brands do this. I hate when they take a beloved design, they slightly change the proportions, and they try to sell it as something revolutionary. We've seen Hermes do this with the Constance when they launched the Constance Elan. We've seen Dior do this quite recently, actually, when they launched the newest Lady Dior, which I don't like, and now we're seeing it with the Della Cavalleria bag. I much prefer the original design. I don't think that the proportions of these elongated bags are flattering or interesting in any shape or form. To me, they just make these bags feel kind of outdated. We're also getting a new Kelly cut. Well, again, it's not going to be new, but it's going to be the reintroduction of the Kelly cut shadow, which was around, I want to say back in 2009, 2010 it was. Well, we're getting those Kelly cuts in a shadow version again, which I surprisingly quite like. I definitely don't like the Kelly cut. It's definitely one of my least favorite Hermes bags. But if I had to buy one, I would definitely make it the Kelly cut shadow. And then we're also getting a Kelly inspired messenger bag for men, which I'm so sorry for being so negative today, but again, it's just not something that I would spend the money on. I just don't feel like that any of these bags are really elevated or elaborate or anything interesting. They are just kind of all, this whole collection just feels lazy to me. Please let me know what you think, because now it's your turn to share your review in the comment section with us. Was I too harsh? Am I just not in the mood today? I don't know what's going on, but please let me know what you think, and while you're down there, make sure to give this video a thumbs up and don't forget to subscribe, and definitely check out Karen's Instagram and YouTube, which I will have linked down below for you. But I really appreciate you guys being here and watching, and I hope to see you back here with a new video really, really soon.